Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Trade Talk Podcast. This is where myself, Keith Dobman, alongside me, Matt Francino, and of course, the one and only Jason Ryback. We go over some common topics that have loosely to do with our industry, and of course, we unpack them. If you don't follow us, we'd love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel called Glass Guy. Don't forget to share, comment, and like. And stay tuned for our weekly podcast. But without further ado, we're going to pass the microphone to Mr. Jason, and we'll get this thing rolling. How you doing, by the way?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
Amazing. Matt?
Great.
Awesome. Let's get her going.
Excited for today's episode. We are going to talk about ethics in the business environment.
Ooh.
So, as we all know, word of mouth has always been one of the greatest forms of advertisement. But nowadays, with social media and other technological platforms out there, things can travel much farther and faster. One of the many challenges that we face in business, as in life, is how to solve problems in an ethical, morally positive manner. So today's questions will all revolve around ethical dilemmas, and I'll be asking your feedback on them and whether you feel they are ethical or unethical.
Oh, let's go.
I like this.
So our first one here is going to be about special discounts. So sometimes a customer will be ready to move forward with the deal, but they'll try one last ditch effort to get more out of you. For example, they may ask if this is their contractor price, or they may try and toy with your emotions and ask if you provide a military or first responder discount. Mm-hmm. So many of these times, they've already beaten you up on the price and they're trying to squeeze out every last drop. And one of the dilemmas with this is, especially with military discount, you're certainly not going to ask them for proof that they were in the military. Contractor discount's a little bit easier. But anyhow, sometimes if you recognize this type of customer ahead of time, you can prepare, and some people will even fluff the price a little bit off the bat. So my question to you is, how do you handle a customer like this? And would you consider padding the price, knowing in the end they will be paying full retail? Would you consider that smart or slimy?
Okay, I want to answer this first.
Okay.
First of all, anybody that's willing to put their life on the line to go into any of the services should be commended. Because
Absolutely.
Without the many generations before this that went off did that, we wouldn't be in the position to do what we're doing anyway. So I want to put that on the ground. That said, I've been to Lowe's many times, and Lowe's advertises military discount if you provide your military card. I think most branches have some type of service card or
You have to get on the base. You have an ID card, military ID.
So I got up into the line after they left, and I said to the cashier, how many people come to ask for a military discount? But you know damn well we're never in the military. They don't have their card. There's just red flags. He goes, all the time. So I wanted to put that on the outset of this because a lot of people are just sharks. They will say whatever the hell they have to say to try and get a lesser price. And if it gets all the way to the point of the military discount, if they're one of those scumbags that's falsifying the military discount, I want to say, not scumbag in the military, there's probably been signs of it in the beginning all the way up to that point. There's little red flags.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem fluffing up the price to give them a discount if they've already kind of broken that unethical type of negotiating in the first place. If you're already lying and trying to steal and cheat from me in the first place, then the gloves are off. Everything is fair game. Now, with that said, if they've been very cordial, professional the whole time, and then right at the end, hey, I was just wondering, do you guys happen to do anything for former military? I have a big heart. I get sucked into it all the time. I have no problem giving a discount for somebody that's been in the services, and I will not ask for it. I believe the universe will take care of that. If they got to that point, and I felt very trustworthy with these people, and then they asked that, if they pulled one over, shame on me. They'll get what's coming to them. But if they've been a kind of a shark along the way, and then drop it's the same person that says, "Oh, do you give a discount for AAA?" Like, who the fuck still even does that, right?
Does that still exist?
Yeah. So I don't have a problem with fluffing the price. on somebody that you know is looking. They're going to use every card in the bag to do it. So to answer your question, I don't have a problem with fluffing the price if you're aware this person is a shark trying to steal from you. Matt, what say you?
We just had a case where we, gave a customer a military discount, and you can always tell the ones that are genuine. She brought it up towards the end, very, hey, would you guys happen to have a discount? Not like it was a deal breaker or anything, but we were glad to honor that. We told her we were very happy to honor that, and she ended up, working with us, so that was great. But then you always get the, this is a model home, this is a spec house, what's your contractor pricing? And we know enough about this market, we know enough about this business that we know who those people are before they even ask.
You can tell as soon as they start calling they're
So-
this type of person.
There you go. That'd be a case where you'd fluff it up a little bit, or
And so is that an ethical issue?
no. Yeah, I think it is absolutely.
On whose part?
I think it's their part because that's a negative reciprocity. That is quite literally.
So they deserve everything that's coming back. So
Yeah.
because one would say, well, you guys fluff it. That's kind of shisty.
Yeah.
It was in retaliation. We never punch first. We're not trying to screw people out of the gate, ever. But if we recognize someone's trying to take us to the woodshed, what are we supposed to just stand there and grab our ankles? Like, I would advocate nobody to do that. And because once you start doing that, when do you stop?
Right?
So don't like grabbing the ankles.
It's not what I heard. Anyhow.
Who said that?
Confidential sources.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So let's take that a step further. You brought up Lowe's, but Home Depot in particular has been called out in the past for some deceptive pricing tactics. So around the holiday season, there's some videos out there where they advertise, "Oh, this is our holiday sales price," and then they got the little paper tags where you could pull that out, and the price beneath it revealed was the same exact price. So the question is, some people will view this as kind of a harmless promotional tactic. Like, people think they're getting something out of it because they're like, oh, wow, it's on sale, right? Now, the customer is going to purchase this knowing full well what the price is. The question is, since the customer does know the price and they're aware of it and they've chosen to pay it, how do you see it? Is the customer's responsibility to do more research to determine what the actual retail value of the item is? And is this tactic smart or slimy?
It's slimy. And it's not incumbent about it's the customer. The true value is only what someone's willing to pay for it. So if the customer sees the price and they have a need for that item and they can justify paying that price, now you got to market, no problem. But if indeed what's happening is you peel the sticker back and it's the same price under the shame on the depot or whoever's doing these tactics, and eventually it'll get exposed in today's day and age with the social media.
Well, it already is.
It's
Yeah.
already getting exposed, so I imagine that'll affect them. But it's like car dealerships. Oh, well, you should come in today. It's the last day of the month. We can still make. Is that still a thing? Like, am I really gonna not get the same deal? Like today's the first. Today's the first, right?
Yeah.
So if you went to go buy a car yesterday, it's the best day to buy a car. It's the end of the month. We need to hit our numbers. We're willing to work more. But are you saying if I came in tomorrow, meaning today, I'm not going to get the same price?
Yeah, because you paid more for
No.
it if I come in tomorrow?
They're just trying to manipulate and
Fear tactic.
100. I bet at one point in time this was the case, and then as we evolved, the dealerships or whoever was giving these promotions said, let's stop doing that. But the salespeople still use that because they don't actually know how to sell. So this was kind of their one thing. Oh, it's the end of the month. We should hurry up and try and close this deal.
What do you think, Matt?
Yeah.
Oh, can you rephrase the question again?
So Home Depot was caught putting sales price tags, and then once they pulled the tag
was
off,
the
the
same
same
price.
price was
Is it
beneath
slimy
it.
that they lied about a discount?
Yeah. Or is it incumbent on the customer to do their research and know what it should cost? Because at the end of the day, the customer goes up to the register with that item knowing what they're paying. So they've agreed in their mind to pay for that.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
You don't think it is what? You don't think it's slimy?
No. I think if they're okay with paying that, there's price and there's value.
Yeah, yes. We understand that. We're just saying, do you think their marketing tactic of just putting it's a sale price on there, even though the price is exactly the same. Is that unethical?
You could
to
say the same thing about a marketing practice where everything ends with 99 or all the retail and commercial psychology that goes into this. It's a market built around how to rewire how we think to want to buy something. Whether or not they're lying, they're still going to buy it for that price. They agreed to buy it in that price in their head. And it's just another way of them getting the one up on us. And it's been happening for a while. I don't know if it, I don't think it's that slimy. Nah, I don't think it's that slimy.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, speaking of customers doing their due diligence, most contracts have a lot of fine print buried in there, mostly to protect the business. And if you have a customer where you know there's a concern that may arise, would you point that out to the customer knowing that the deal may be in jeopardy? And how do you handle a situation like that? Do you consider this fine print smart or slimy?
Can you give us an example?
So
let's use shower door, because on the back of our takeoff sheet we have fine print, but a lot of times we don't enforce it. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but just something like I'm having a hard time thinking of an example right now, but maybe the customers that have been asking you all sorts of questions, you're assuring them of something. Now this customer has a concern about this, and there are protective clauses in the contract just in case something happens. Now in this situation it's not going to be a problem, but the customer may see that later. So you kind of want to alert them to it, but at the same time, if you alert them to it, now they might back out of the deal.
I mean, I got one where we were working with a company where we're trying to get a product through them, and literally in their fine print was, they basically said, if this product is bad, we're not responsible. You guys might know who I'm talking about or not, but we were literally reading it and we're like, so they're saying if the product they sell us isn't good, they're not held responsible. And I was just like, well, obviously they'd never honor that, but why is it in there in the first place? That made me, I never looked at them the same again, although we, work with them pretty.
So do you think the fine print is smart or slimy?
Slimy. Yeah, it shows that they will, instead of this being a collaborative effort, they're always going to cover their own asses at the end of the day. And that to me screams, not collaborative, because at the end of the day, if they get a lawyer or something, they're going to win. We signed a piece of paper that said if this product isn't correct, we're not at fault. When in reality, that's why I'm coming to you for your service, is because I want something done a certain way. Can you provide that to me?
I think people put fine print on there maybe sometimes to just showcase, like, hey, listen, we've done this enough. We know what some of the things are going to be. What are some of the problems that are going to arise that might not be our fault? And God forbid this goes to court, because we are in a litigious society. We have something in there to kind of cover our ass. But that said, because this is coming from somebody who's got a company with fine print on it, I can count on one hand, and we've got over 100,000 shower enclosures. I can count on one hand how many times we've enforced some of the fine print. Because at the end of the day, one happy customer will only tell 3 people, where an unhappy customer will tell 30 people, infinity, and with a lot more piss and vinegar behind it too. And so if you're in the middle of a deal and you know that you have fine print and the customer's asking questions that might pertain to this, I would let them know ahead of time, because it's going to be a problem at some point. Why not bring it up in the front? And if that causes you to get the deal, so be it. You and I have both know what it's like to finish a job and have a headache with a customer thinking they got something they didn't want, or this wasn't covered. And that just never ends well for anybody. Even if you're able to get paid on the job, they're motherfucking you behind your back and they're talking bad about you, and it's just not worth it. So in the grand scheme of things, if you're going to have fine print and you recognize that somebody's asking questions that's going to have to do with that, you should bring it up. The so-called elephant in the room doesn't go away ever until it's talked about. That's from Chris Voss, by the way. You know that.
Okay.
Shout out Chris Voss.
Well, I want to talk about information thieves. So we all come across those customers who they seem interested and they pump you for all the information they possibly can.
The tire kicker.
Knowing full well that they're going to go and take that to shop other competitors.
Or validate a bid that they already got from somebody else.
Yeah, and they often never come back to the source to complete a deal.
Sure.
We see that a lot. Like with plans, we get plans and there's no spec on there. Now we got to provide a spec, and we know damn well they're taking it and shopping it elsewhere. In the end, the customer gets what they wanted all along, and you're left exhausted and empty-handed. So how do you handle this type of customer? And are their tactics smart or slimy?
Okay, me personally, if you don't mind, do I have your permission?
Absolutely.
I've fallen trapped to this for over 15 years, and the amount of anxiety that's caused me during those times was miserable. And then we learned some different psychology to kind of help understand how we even got to that point in the first place. And so if somebody comes with us with a set of plans and no spec, I would say, I recognize what you're trying to establish here, but because there's no spec on it, I'm also assuming there's no budget allocated to this. And with the amount of resources that are readily available on the internet these days, I have no idea on what side of the price spectrum you're looking to be to satisfy whatever opportunity you might have. So I ask you, do you have a spec? And if you don't, do you have a budget in mind? Now, that is a very logical question to ask somebody. Now, normally people don't want to give you what their budget is because they've probably been screwed before, and you say, my budget's 10 grand, and then we automatically come in at 9,999 and I was under budget, right? You know that's why they're fearful of giving you the price. But if they didn't take the time to put a spec in there, it's a very logical question. How the hell am I supposed to go find a spec if I don't know what price point you're trying to stay in? And then they say, well, why don't you just kind of give me a good, better, best? We don't do that. We're not architects. We're not designers. We're builders. You tell us what you want to build. We'll tell you how much it's going to cost to build it.
It's like saying, give me a car.
Give me a car.
Yeah.
Well, how much do you want to spend on the car? Well, I don't know. I don't even, this is what they say to us. I don't even know what something like this costs. I understand that, but you know damn well in your head, you know what dollar amount you've allocated to this already before you even made the phone call. Geez, if this could come in under 7,000, we should sign up for this right now and just get it done. You know they've had that self-talking conversations. So I will ask, if you don't have a spec, would it be crazy to think that you had a budget allocated for this? And now I can start narrowing down what products I'm looking for. That's how I mitigate that. And if they haven't answered a none, they're just trying to shop you to get information to go somewhere else. And the conversation kind of, oh, well, let us think about it and we'll get back to you. So I've wasted no more additional time on that. I love those two questions.
Matt?
Great point at the end. And that actually, as you were talking, had something that I wanted to say, but I want to ride off what you just said real quick. You said that when you ask them, what is a budget you might have allocated for this? Now, this will tell you a lot about the person, because if they go, well, what do you have in mind? Or, they immediately become defensive. You already know they're trying to pull one on you. And
It's a red flag.
You already know they're kind of prepared, and like any honest person's going to be like, you know what? I have no idea. I don't know too much about glass. Absolutely. Let me help you. Let me give you some information. Let me help you talk, see what you might want to do with this. But people that immediately off the back, like, well, what's your best price? Or, they immediately have a defense as they've thought this through and they're planning on just chopping a price from you.
Yep.
My original point I wanted to make is, yes, it's slimy, but I think the customer is allowed to be slimy. I think the business is the one that isn't allowed to be slimy. The business is the one that takes all the risk. The business is the one that is an establishment that has the most to gain. And I think that it's a competitive market. So yeah, there's going to be slimy customers, but customers can be slimy all day and shop and do whatever. It's our job to be the best, have the highest quality, because you're either the best or you're the cheapest, and we will never be the cheapest. So for us to succeed, I think being a great business model and having integrity is going to go a long way, and let all the slimy people be slimy.
So you're saying it's incumbent upon us to kind of filter out and qualify these people as they come in. And if they happen to waste our time and drag us all through the showroom, shame on us. We allowed it.
Not shame on us, but
It's their
completely in their right to do
Okay,
that.
I
Now,
like that.
now as a business to be slimy and do the same thing, that's not
I
acceptable.
agree. I agree with that.
So they're gonna be there. It's slimy, but
I like it.
It's the first question that is this slimy for a business? But the customer can be as slimy as they want. They're customers. It's their money.
Yeah.
They have
Right.
all the power.
Yeah. Doesn't mean it's right, but they're okay to do it.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that actually.
I can buy that.
Yeah. How much?
Not telling. I have no idea what it costs.
Glass kicker.
So we recently had a situation where there was an ongoing project and a builder was in a situation where they needed something fairly quickly. And so they employed us to give them a price, and it was a custom, it was glass around a fire pit. It's custom materials for it and everything. So we got them the price. They agreed to the price, gave us a written go-ahead
In an email.
in an email
Yep.
with a change order to the original contract to follow. So in the meantime, their directive was to move forward and get everything going, get this done as soon as possible. So we did. We got everything done. And then when it came time for billing, they hadn't produced this change order yet. And they kept kind of kicking the can down the road saying, oh, so-and-so is going to do it. So-and-so is going to do it. Finally, they came back and they said, okay, we're putting together this change order. We need to know what your cost of materials, your cost of labor,
Your profit.
what your markup is, they said. So in the interest of getting this done once and for all, because it had been gone on for like 6 months, we actually gave them a breakdown.
Which we never do after the
No.
fact. Not that we're not willing to. We're not trying to hide anything, but it's just bad business.
So they came back and said, well, we can't accept this. Your markup is too high. So you've agreed to the price,
Scum.
but whatever.
Yeah.
So how would you handle a customer who asks for information like this? And is this tactic slimy?
I think this person is a fucking piece of shit. I never in my wildest dreams would I ever imagine sending a purchase order to someone or requesting a price from someone, sending them a purchase order, the job gets complete, has been complete for over 120 days, and then go back to them and say, I want a breakdown of what you did, and then they actually do it, which I think 99% of companies are like, fuck off.
Yeah.
You already got my price. You compared it to the market. You chose it. But then, God forbid, they did that, and they said, oh, I think your markup is too much. Well, scum, if they're doing that. Scum. Now, I will say, we did get paid on this job. Good job. Shout out
Finally.
Dollar Bill, who's an empathy king. That was the first time in my social media career that I wanted to use the social to slam somebody and help hurt their business, because I felt like it was a malicious attack because somebody on their end didn't do the paperwork with the end user and probably was going to have to come out of pocket for this change order and was just trying to save every dime possible. Now, the problem that guy did with doing that is he took a shot, it didn't work, but now does he think we're never forgetting?
He's ruined the relationship.
I can't wait for the next bid request to come by. I got a special price book for this individual. Like, on what planet does someone think doing this type of business tactic would benefit him or his company or her company in the future? Nowhere would anybody logical think that would be a good tactic to do. And so I think it's not only slimy, they're a piece of shit. And I hope the universe scolds them accordingly moving forward into the year. I have no sympathy for these people.
Wow.
Yeah. Scorch earth, nuclear option.
My explanation is going to be simple. I think it's scummy,
Yeah.
shitty,
Shitty.
horrible.
Bad
and
business.
None of your business.
Yeah.
Whatever our margin is, you chose our price. Shut up.
And it wasn't like we were the only one because we got a proprietary product and we were took it on the woodshed. I know this person. 4 bids.
Yeah.
So you had 4 bids. And just a little backstory. This
We've done business.
There was no reason
this.
for them to do this.
Yes.
Zero. Other than they made a mistake on their end and they thought they could justify by kind of beating us up and strong arm us to get down a little price just to save the money that was going to have to come out of their own pocket. And I feel like not only did they not save any money, but they cost themselves a lot more headaches for the future to come.
Those of you watching, we'd love to know what you think too. Maybe some of you are on the other side and have a better explanation for us. Let us know in the comments.
Absolutely.
That's such an expensive lesson too.
That he hasn't learned yet, but it's coming.
Because now, like you said, one happy customer tells 3 people. What do you think one very unhappy business owner is going to tell a whole market?
Look, you could just tell in the passion. I'm like fired up.
That was a very low IQ. Like whoever thought about that, like even believing that it would work, but not even taking in the repercussions. That's such an immature way of thinking about something. Like
short-sighted.
Who the hell doesn't think about the repercussions? That's what being an adult is. That's what being a business owner is repercussions. What I do now? How does that affect my future? And for just some money.
Yeah,
and it wasn't even a lot of money.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, we're not even talking a lot.
Yeah, and the thing is, as a business owner, if your company, someone from your company makes a mistake, you have to take your lumps.
We do it all the time. We do it all the time. I hate it. I hate doing it. But I'm so grateful that we've put ourselves in a position to be able to do that, because some of the best customers we have today started because of a mistake we made, but how we handled it moving forward. And the contractor or customer would be like, I can't believe that you actually honored what you said you were going to do. And we will never use anybody else moving forward. We know that you're accountable and that you stand by your word and you do the right thing. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you have.
Yep. Well, as you probably know, the Tampa Bay Rays lost their roof at Tropicana Field in Hurricane Milton. So they've been playing over at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. Recently, they've been selling to fans pieces of Tropicana roof for $15 a piece. Now, here's the problem with that. The Rays do not own that roof. The Rays lease that ballpark from the city of St. Petersburg. Therefore, that's not their property to sell.
Is this in the news? Like
This is in the news, yes.
So what, is the developer of that building suing the Rays? Or?
No, it's just people are talking about it right now. Apparently, the city has become aware of this, but they haven't really come up with any response to it yet. So apparently this money is going towards like the Tampa Bay Rays Foundation or something.
Charity.
Something to that effect. I don't know exactly what it is.
The roof is shit. I mean,
it is. But the question becomes,
it's interesting.
Like, what do you make of this? Because they're essentially selling trash that would have no value if it weren't for them being tenants of that park. Like, what do you make of this?
Well, yeah, go ahead. You go first.
And first of all, is this smart or slimy?
All right. I have a perspective on this.
Okay.
What would you say about a business that throws something out and someone goes and dumpster dives it and resells it on the market?
No problem with it.
Okay. Now, if you're going to throw away all this tarp or whatever shitty material they use for the roof, and it's going to a landfill, is there something wrong with someone who taken the labor upon themselves, the storage upon themselves of selling it? Is that really? Is the city like, no, we wanted to sell it?
Well,
or,
that's the thing. I don't know that there was ever any communication because the city's just become aware of this.
Wait, so is the city the one that funded the ballpark? Because that happens in a lot of cities.
Yeah, the city the taxpayers funded it. The city owns it.
Taxpayers own the building.
Yeah.
And so we don't know what communication between Rays ownership and the city said, hey, this roof that fell in, we're going to take all that trash. And the city might, oh, okay, thank you. But now the city might find out, well, shit, they're making millions of dollars off of this.
Right.
What's our cut? If they didn't ask and they just took it, I would find that to be slimy. I think that's just common sense. You don't go into someone else's house and take something, whether it's their trash or not. Now, if they put the trash out on the street, like Matt was saying, or it's in a dumpster, that's fair game. Like, you're willing to put yourself in a dumpster, one man's trash, another man's treasure, no problem. But if they didn't ask and they started doing that, Yeah, I would say it's a problem. I like the fact that it's going to charity, but we all know there's very few charities where 100% of the money's going to charity, so somebody's making some money on it.
Right.
Yeah, I would want to know more about the backstory behind this if there was communication between both sides. But if there was not any communication, then yeah, slimy.
Good
Okay.
question.
If it was in the dumpster, total good. Yeah, good question.
Great question.
Great question.
Okay. Well, once again, it's game time. So this week we're going to be putting a spin on the aforementioned Guess My Success.
Oh,
So I will give you a story about a company that is unconventional and maybe border on unethical, and you'll be given a chance to guess the company or CEO behind it.
Okay.
There's 1 point for each correct answer and a bonus point if you guess both the company and the CEO.
let's do it.
Are you ready
We are ready.
for Guess My Success?
These better be a little easier than last time.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see. Before my company grew to $1 billion empire, I nearly ruined everything by pulling an illegal stunt. In the early 70s, the British government imposed a 33% purchase tax on record sales, which was applicable to records sold in the UK. I, however, found a loophole. If you exported records, you could avoid paying the tax. So I declared the records to be exported to Belgium. I realized that after getting the export paperwork stamped by customs, I could bring them back into the UK and sell them tax-free. I finally got caught when someone tipped off customs and they decided to mark all records for export with an invisible E that only showed up under UV light. I was arrested on tax evasion, spent the night in jail, and was forced to pay a £60,000 fine. This was nearly 3 times the illegal profit my company had made. This would serve as one of my greatest lessons in managing my business finances. Thanks to this lesson, I am now worth an estimated $3 billion. Who am I?
First, before I even guess, I do want to say a lot of times people get heat for using laws and regulations that are already on the books but haven't really been commercialized for everybody. I think maybe during the 2016 presidential campaign, people were hounding Trump like, how can you run the presidency? You ran a business into the ground. When in reality, he bought a business that was doing bad, sent it into Chapter 11, which these lawmakers put in place for him to be able to do that in the first place, and he was just using those laws. So as far as this guy kind of circumventing the system to keep his business going and be healthy, this is the term thinking outside the box. Every teacher or administrator had always said, think outside the box, think outside the box. So assuming he wasn't breaking any laws. Now,
Well, he was.
Now it sounds like he was
He
breaking
was.
laws. So, but I want to be very clear. I have no problem doing stuff unconventionally, assuming you're not fucking with the IRS or breaking any laws. But who is this guy? I can't wait to find out. So he owned a record label, or still does to this day. Mm-hmm. In what year was this take place?
This was in the 70s when this happened. This was right when he was getting started.
And he still owns this record label today?
He does.
Oh, wow.
Can I get a hint?
Yeah, I need a
Please.
hint too. Does he have a band? Was he in a band?
No, he was not in a
Just
band.
a business executive.
He is a business mogul that owns much more than a record label.
Is it Virgin Airlines? Or Virgin Records.
Yes.
And his name is Richard Branson.
You got
2
it.
points!
Wow.
Yep.
Woo!
Richard Branson.
Yes.
Arrested on tax evasion.
I suck
Wow.
at these.
You're just young. Wait your turn.
Yeah,
You'll,
come on, here.
you'll get one.
Spread it out a bit, man.
Yeah.
There'll be one in here for you. In 1959, at an exhibition in Moscow, I got Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev to try my product. This was captured in a famous photo and led to tremendous interest in my product in the Soviet Union. There was one problem. The Soviet ruble was not accepted internationally, making traditional payment methods impossible. To overcome this, my company struck a bartering agreement in which we would provide our product in return for Stolichnaya vodka, which we could then sell in the Western world. By the late 1980s, during the height of the Cold War, Soviet vodka was not valued as much in the U.S. As a result, our trade agreement had to be renegotiated. Desperate to continue receiving my product, the Soviets offered a fleet of naval vessels as payment. This included 17 submarines, a frigate, a cruiser, and a destroyer.
What's a frigate?
It's a ship.
Oh, wow. Sounds cool. Frigate.
We then sold these items to pay for the $3 billion worth of product we sent them.
Holy shit.
For a short time, we became the 6th largest military in the world.
Oh.
Who am I?
Wow. Wow.
6th largest military or 6th largest navy?
Military.
Military.
Just because the amount of
A couple of boats make you.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about all the big superpowers.
This was in the 80s now.
Yeah. Wow. What? Oh my God. What?
Okay. Is this a vodka that's still around?
No. The vodka was
Okay.
their payment.
Vodka, they got paid with
Wasn't it-
Stolichnaya vodka.
Give us a hint.
This is another beverage company.
Oh, it is a beverage company.
It is.
So it's probably a mixer for the vodka. Maybe like club soda or cranberry juice or something. I'd say like a sparkling water, club soda. No.
No.
It's not Red Bull because that was too.
Think of something that would have been very popular in the 80s in the Soviet Union.
Man, that's
Vodka and potatoes.
No,
Food?
a product from America that would have been very popular in the Soviet Union in the 80s. When you hear it, you'll be like, oh shit, I get it.
I have no idea.
The CEO was Donald Kendall, and the company is Pepsi.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. Remember how big that was?
Yeah.
Coke and Pepsi were big in the Soviet Union in the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
And they were constantly trying to outdo each other with their marketing and then, probably got overseas. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So on this next one,
So wait, Pepsi was ranked at one point as the sixth largest military
yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
For a very short time in 1989.
That's cool. Clip that.
For this one, I'm not going to have you choose the CEO. I'm going to have you choose the company and the game this is referring to.
Let's go.
I pulled off a scam netting nearly $24 million on the back of one of the biggest promotions of the 80s. They call me Uncle Jerry, and I was in charge of security at the company producing the game pieces for a popular promotion put on by one of the largest companies in the world. Customers of this company could win cars, vacation, cash, and even a $1 million grand prize. I smuggled winning game pieces out of the printing facility and handed them off to, quote, winners I had selected in return for a cut of their winnings. For 12 years, not a single legitimate player had won a major prize from this company. In August of 2001, the FBI was tipped off, and I ended up spending 37 months in prison. The company I scammed had to give away $25 million in real prizes just to fix their reputation. Who am I?
McDonald's.
Oh, you stole it from me. That's what I wanted to say. The Monopoly game.
Yes.
Fuck. Good job. See? You got one.
There you go.
That was my only guess, too. Wait, so let's just unpack this for a little bit. Jerry
Yeah.
was scamming the McDonald's things that you'd peel off and it'd say Boardwalk or whichever
So
ones.
he was the head of security for the printing company that produced the game pieces. So he would smuggle the winning game pieces out of the printing company before they shipped off to McDonald's. And then he would have people that were paying him for these pieces. So they
And
go,
of
hey,
course,
I won.
That probably didn't pay enough one time. The guy said no, and the other guy said, oh, okay, I'll get you. I'll beef on you. And he went and rattled on to the FBI because they said they got a tip from some.
Well, the FBI, how they caught him, the FBI actually set up a sting and they pretended to be a camera crew interviewing the winners. And when they started talking to winners, things just didn't add up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This sounds like it should be a Netflix documentary,
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
And if you guys are looking for any casting members for that documentary, we are open for that. That sounds like it would be awesome.
Or just put this clip in the documentary.
Absolutely. Well, this could be the catalyst to
Yeah.
start it in the first place. That's cool.
Okay, Matt, I gotta give this last one just to Keith. I mean, you're welcome to guess. I doubt you're gonna get anything.
I love this
Wow.
game.
Don't take offense to this.
Yeah. Don't take offense
This
to
is so
it.
fun.
I just seeing that we were talking about ethics and things. This involves kind of the implementation of technology, and we've talked about that with AI being an issue. So this one kind of you'll see in the end. You'll figure out why.
Okay.
Okay. In October Oh, I'm sorry. This is not the one for Keith. You get one more. In October 2007, my roommate and I were struggling to pay rent on our San Francisco apartment. With a large conference coming to town, we decided to buy a few air mattresses and rented them out for $80 a night along with free breakfast. This sparked a bigger idea, and we set up a website to offer our rentals. Initially, the site didn't gain much traction. As a result, we employed bots to auto-reply to Craigslist ads for rentals, as well as generate backlinks to our site, thus driving up traffic and launching what has now become a $75 billion company. Who am I?
Airbnb.
You got it, Matt.
We both got it.
Yeah. As soon as you started saying
He
that,
gave me the look.
I read that story once about the air mattresses, and that's cool.
He let me have that one because I'm getting my butt kicked.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the one for Keith here.
Here we go.
In 1974, my family owned a tiny grocery warehouse in Massachusetts that I had just taken over. Instead of running it traditionally, I decided to automate everything, making it the first fully robotic distribution center in the U.S. With the help of my robotic counterparts, I grew the company to a $25 billion empire, supplying more than 14,000 stores across the country, becoming one of the largest privately held companies in the country. Who am I?
It doesn't sound like to me like it's a grocery store. More so a fulfillment warehouse.
And I'm allowed to guess or no?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
sure
go
are.
ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just. What was the business model? The robots, what were they doing?
They became the first fully robotic distribution center in the U.S.
Yeah.
It's not.
Everything became automated.
It's not Boston Dynamics.
No.
Okay.
The robotic company. Would it be CNS Wholesale?
It sure was.
No,
Oh
fuck.
yeah, I would have never.
Okay, now the
Okay.
reason I
Never
said
got
that,
Well, I worked there.
he worked there.
And it's in Massachusetts.
Oh, cool.
Which was the hardest job I ever had,
Okay,
by the
what's
way.
his name? You should know it then.
The guy who started it?
Yeah.
I have no idea. That was an interesting time in my life. I was 20, 21. Like, there was way more things more important than work at the time.
His name is Rick Cohen.
Oh, Rick Cohen.
Yeah.
Okay. Never met him. But I learned all about the value of $1 working at that place in a freezer for 2 years. But at the time when I was there, so this is 2000, 99, 2000, there was no robotics in there.
I thought that was interesting, and it has to be a different part of it.
Because I was
they're
in the
speaking of.
freezer
Yeah.
warehouse, so he brought manipulators for us to get all the groceries and moving things faster. But I bet in some of the dry goods stores or other areas, it was probably robotic.
Yeah.
And probably definitely is fully robotic by now. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That was a wild job.
I saw it, so I'm like, you know what? It kind of ties in. I gotta throw it out there.
It was a piecework job too. So, and they had these weird. You were on teams. They had all these teams. So each shift, you had a 5-man team, and you had to go select all these groceries throughout this warehouse, and then you'd load up these tractor trailers that would go to all the different, Stop and Shop, Safeway, Star Market, all the grocery stores in New England. And if you didn't pull your weight on your team, the other 4 team members would vote you off the team, and then they were probably already recruiting another stud from another team to once they booted you, so they didn't have to work harder to get another guy on. And it was just a wild job. I learned a lot from that.
Yeah. I probably knew half a dozen people that worked there, and it was a
Hard job.
cutthroat business.
Oh yeah, very hard job. Hard job.
Well, I want to touch on something we discussed previously. We talked about posting photos online and if they're fair game. And it got me thinking about something we come across from time to time. What are your thoughts on taking photos of your finished product in a customer's home without asking prior permission and using them for promotional or social media posts? Is this too fair game?
Good question.
Okay, I'm probably biased to this because I'm addicted to social media, and I love what we do so much that I want to showcase it to everyone else, not only to humble brag what our team is able to do from start to finish, but also seed opportunities for new customers. However, I also am aware that there's some old heads out there that just don't understand social media, and they think, oh my God, you just took a picture of the inside of my house and now I'm going to get robbed tonight. When in reality, you have no idea where this picture is coming from because it's only showcasing our product. It's not like we're showing their office and all their records and their address and what have you. Nevertheless, it is their house. Very few times will I ever ask for permission because there's hardly ever, the homeowner's ever there when we're there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And the amount of stuff that's on the internet, the likelihood of them even seeing that one aspect of their house on the internet and then causing a problem, I think it's minuscule. But if the client was there, I would say, are you okay with me taking a picture or video of this for our social media? You can't go wrong with doing that. And then in the chance that they say I don't like it, then don't fucking do it.
Right.
But I just feel like we're in a day and age now that most people wouldn't have a problem with it because they know what you're doing. I mean, I'm not asking to take a picture of your refrigerator or your toilet. I want to just show the product that we just installed. Because we're proud of it and we want to showcase it for more people. I know when we first started on social media, if we had to capitulate on our price at all, we would say, hey, if I do that, are you okay with giving us a Google review and allowing us to take photos for our photo album? Because we used to have to print the pictures and then slide them into a little booklet. Because when we went to the house, instead of just scrolling through our phones out, we'd open up a booklet and look at this job we did and look at this job. Oh, you did that one? Yeah. So I think most people understand why we're taking pictures, but is it over the line? I think you just have to be situationally aware of each customer that you're dealing with.
Yeah, this is an easy one. I mean, it's not that hard to ask.
Yeah.
It's not like you're fighting with the should I ask or just ask. And usually I'm the person that goes the route of it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission. But in this case, you're in someone's house. Just ask.
Yeah. What if they're not home?
Okay, great rebuttal.
And you're not going back. You're not going to drive. You want the picture, but you don't want the picture bad enough to call them, make a separate appointment to go back to the house.
You know what I'd do in that case? If I were going to take a picture in their house, I would send it to them. And I'd say, just finished the job. How does it look? And that way, now you have an excuse for having the picture. And then,
Okay, fair enough. Keith,
I like it.
You brought up something interesting.
Sounds a little slimy, but I like it.
You brought up something interesting. Earlier on in your career, you said sometimes if we were haggling on price, we would ask the customer if they would allow us to take pictures and give us Google review. What do you think about that, Google reviews? And basically asking a customer a Google review that's tied to something, because likely the review is going to be a 5-star review just because it's tied to something they feel obligated to. What are your thoughts on that ethically?
Well, if I didn't believe in my gut that we did a complete banger of a job, I wouldn't ask for the review in the first place in fear of not getting a 5-star review. If I'm asking for a review, if you're the customer and we just finished, I'm like, Mr. Ryback, we just finished the railings. What'd you think? You're like, oh man, they're awesome. It's better than what I expected. It's good to hear that. Would you be opposed to giving us a Google review if I sent you a link? Now, you just told me it's a banger of a job. You're happy with it. I'm going to then ask you for the Google review without saying, can you put a 5-star? Make sure you do 5-star. I'm expecting a 5-star.
Right.
Otherwise, I wouldn't ask.
But if you're asking this in return for a price reduction during the negotiating
in the beginning, so that it's not installed yet.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. The customer should be happy about that because it's like, I would say I have no problem doing that. You just better do what you said you were going to do, because now I'm going to hold you responsible. I'm definitely giving you a Google review, and I'm going to be honest about it. So are you showing up on time? Are you taking your shoes off before you come in? I don't have to tell you. Are you parking in the street so you don't get oil in my fucking driveway? You know, you put the drop cloths down. You got to check every box off. So if you are going to ask for one ahead of time, you better damn sure be aware of this and act accordingly. Right?
I agree. What do you say?
I agree. My question though is, what's the ethics surrounding, let's say we have someone, fighting over the price, and we say, all right, as long as you give us a 5-star review, we'll bring it down to this price.
I wouldn't fight over the price. You know that we've gotten to a point now where if they're belligerent, you're dealing with one right now. Would you ever ask that individual for a Google review?
Wait, so I'm confused then on the question. If we've negotiated a price based on a Google review that they're going to give us.
No. I knew ahead of time. Back in the day, if somebody was asking for a price concession and we were close, let's say we're $500 apart on a $15,000 job, more than likely I wouldn't even question it. Like $500, yeah, let's just get the job done. I want to ring the register. However, once the internet became a thing, it's like, well, if I'm going to do this, I might as well ask for, if you ask, you better be prepared to receive. So if you ask me for a discount, then I'm going to ask, would you mind giving us a Google review once we're done that? It really helps us with our Google rankings and SEO.
So my question is, what are the ethics of you do that, you do the concession, you do the job, and they don't give you a review?
No, that was part of the deal.
How are you going to enforce that?
Well, I would
You're going to
call
grab
them.
their phone and be like, you have to.
No, I would call them and say, we gave you that discount. I thought we were under the standard that we were going to do it. Yeah, I don't really like the Google. Okay. And we'll move forward. But the likelihood of this person needing some type of service or something in the future is going to come back. I mean, what you're saying makes sense. It happens so few times that if they're willing to take that shot, just like the contractor that was trying to pull a shot on the money, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. And so you better be careful doing that, because especially with someone like me, I feel that I can't even live properly if I know someone tried to do me dirty until I get my pound of flesh back. It's just the way I operate. And I think a lot of humans that way.
Yeah.
If you get punched in the face, you're not just going to walk home and think about it. I'm like, God, I shouldn't have put my face in front of his hand. Like, you're going to be like, why didn't I punch him back? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I get a picture of his tailplane? Follow him? Like, it triggers this, I need to get even, almost like a type of reciprocity. And so I wouldn't forget something like that. If somebody purposely reneged on our negotiation, I'll get back. It's just a matter of time.
So what you're saying...
It's a matter of time.
What you're saying,
scared
Keith...
me.
Yeah. I like that.
What you're saying is you expect them to give an honest review, which they are very much entitled to.
I expect them to keep their word.
They're very much entitled to give an honest review. But when you ask that, it almost implies you want them to give you a 5-star review. And most people
No.
will feel that implication and want to reciprocate by giving a 5-star review, even if they're not completely happy.
I love this, by the way. The fact that you asked me to do something, I gave you a price in which I believe it's going to cost for myself and our team to give you what you asked for. Now you're asking for a cheaper price, but you want the value to stay the same. The expectations, nothing else is coming off of that. I need something in there to fill that up to make it feel worthwhile. Would you mind giving us a review once we're done, assuming we did everything we said we were going to do? Am I implying it? I want a 5-star? You're damn right I am. But I also plan on doing exactly what I said we were going to do in the first place. So why shouldn't we get the 5-star review? By the way, you don't have to pay the 50% balance that's due on completion if we didn't do exactly what we said we were going to do. We get people paying their balances all the time. And you know just as well as I do, we're willing to lose some money on a job to make sure a customer's happy.
Right.
I think Naples or Fort Myers has over 1,100 5-star Google reviews. Like, we're not a fly-by-night that's just starting off. And yes, I am implying that. I'm telling everybody right now, if you leave a Google review, we want a 5-star Google review. Who doesn't want a 5-star Google review? I got no problem with that. And especially once they ask for $500 off, that's a short ask. You're going to get $500 and you're going to stroke the keyboard a few times to give us a 5-star Google review. Like, that's a good deal. That's a good deal.
All right.
And I didn't pay $500 to get a 1-star. Yeah. You think it's slimy?
No, not at all. I
good
feel
question.
there's an underlying perception that the customer feels almost like they're
He should. They
they're
asked for $500.
pigeonholed into giving.
Then don't ask for the $500. If you don't want to do the Google review, then don't take the discount.
Okay.
It's you're gonna pull this lever. This one's gonna go this way. Yeah. You don't have to do the review. You're just not gonna get the discount.
Matt, you got anything to add to that?
Nope.
All right.
Nothing.
Well, on that note, I'm going to get out of here. My neighbor's stripping roofing shingles off his house, and since he lives next to yours truly, I'm thinking I can get $5 to $10 a piece for those babies.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this Trade Talks podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Share it with your friends. Comment, like. We'd like to hear some of your stories. Or if there's anything else that you think we should be bringing up, please feel free to slide into my DMs. But until next time.
See you then.